for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Thanks for joining me today. Each Thursday we try to get out and about in Greater Atlanta, checking out the latest in the food scene. Today I find myself in historic Marietta Square in Marietta. The square is right behind me. And the building that I'm facing here is Australian Bakery Cafe. The reason that we're here today is because of this story. It dropped today in our Go Guide. It's called An Easter Tradition with Mysterious Origins. What did we do? We took a look at hot cross buns, which is a really popular item for Easter in the Easter season coming up now, just a weekend, couple days away. So Australian Bakery Cafe is one of the few bakeries that you can find around Atlanta that are turning out, well, hot cross buns by the dozens. So while this place might typically known for its savory pies, this time of year in particular, you can hit them up for some great sweet treats. So we're going to learn how to make them. So follow me back here. And I will mention that if you have any questions while we're here, feel free to ask away and we'll try to get them answered. We're passing by this great pastry case. It smells super good around here today. You can see their cookies and their bars and their breads in back. This place smells amazing. And as I mentioned, Australian Bakery Cafe is particularly known for its Australian meat pie. All sorts of savory pies. Here you can see a whole bunch of them lined up on the shelf. Another good reason to come in here. All right, so we are in the back room here, and I'm going to introduce Neville Steele. Neville is the one of the bakers and co-owner here of, Australian Bakery Cafe. We should mention we're at the location in Marietta, but you do have another location in Cumming.
In Cumming, that's correct.
And we can get hot cross buns at either location.
Either location.
All right,
yes.
So you're going to show us how you make your hot cross buns. We're going to do a little bit of step-by-step.
Yep.
I'll let you sort of get started.
Right, this is the traditional hot cross buns. I've started with the flour already in the bowl. So then we step in generally with the margarine that keeps it nice and soft. Keeps it soft. And yeast to make it rise up and to be big and fluffy. Salt I always also put in with the flour as well.
Now talk to us a little bit about the definition for a hot cross bun, because I know that in Henry Hollis's story, he interviewed one of your business partners, and she was adamant about saying hot cross bun is not a pastry.
It's not a pastry, no, it's a bun.
It's a bun.
It's a sweet bread bun, similar to a cinnamon roll dough. We also make a similar dough for the cinnamon buns, just regular ones. But these have the fruit in them and a little bit extra spice, which is mainly cinnamon, nutmeg and ginger, just to give it a little bit of flavour and a little bit of traditional kick. Sometimes we'd soak the raisins in a little bit of rum as well.
Oh, nice.
But
not for here?
Not for here today. So we have the sugar that goes in there to sweeten them up. Makes them sweet and also gives it that nice golden brown colour as well. And then we have some oil as well to soften it as well. It's an olive oil blend, very high quality to soften them up. That also allows them to, gives them a keeping quality for a few days as well. Keeps them nice and soft and crunchy. Then we're going to go into the water. This is going to be a bit noisy.
All right, we'll prepare them for the noise.
Yes. Mix is going to be noisy. I can do it in a slower one. I can do it slower and quieter. So we just combine all the ingredients together, just mix it through. Generally allow it to aerate a little bit as well, just to make them light and fluffy so it doesn't clump up.
Right. Now, most of us don't have this industrial mixer in our houses. If we were thinking about making some hot cross buns at home, how simple do you think this is for the home cook?
It is fairly simple. A lot of people have those old bread making machines at home that are great to use as a mixer.
Okay.
So,
That's a great tip. If you can catch that, I know the mixer's kind of loud.
But
If you've got a bread machine at home, the good option for putting...
use it as a mix it up, mix your dough in it, give it a mix, and then a 10-minute proof, take it out of there, and then you can roll them up and do whatever you like with them.
All right. So if you're just joining us, I'm Ligaya Figueres, the Food and Dining Editor for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. We're here today at Australian Bakery Cafe. Their location in Marietta Square. They also have a location in Cumming. And the person I'm with here is one of the co-owners and also the baker, Neville Steele. So he's showing us a little bit about how they make hot cross buns. The reason we're looking at hot cross buns, well, we've got a story going. It dropped today in print in the Go Guide. You can also find it online at myajc.com. We're curious about how they make them here because Easter's coming up and it's a very traditional Easter treat.
Very traditional.
Very.
Easter
Now,
bun.
how did you learn how to make hot cross buns? And there are a lot of recipes out there. There's a lot of ways to do it. So when you say traditional,
we have I grew up in a bakery. My parents had a bakery, and his uncle were bakers. So traditionally, there's only been one basic recipe that we've always had. So that's why I say they're traditional hot cross buns. There is different variations. A lot of the Commonwealth countries, they sort of started in England and then branched out. Some of the ones that don't have access to machines or other equipment have done it different ways.
Okay.
So that's why
and
we
now
say...
Yours don't have icing, is that correct?
We'll do a cross. A cross is just it's not an iced cross. No, it's a baked-in cross.
A baked-in.
Yes.
Gotcha. Now, how long will it take for this to...
It's going to take a long time like that. We're going to add the water in with it now. The water gives it the structure and the gluten to hold it up. We're going to mix it in now so that we're going to make it strong and develop the dough so that then the yeast and the sugars can start working and allow it to rise and hold in so they become nice and fluffy.
Okay. I know that one of the questions was, do you make them year-round? And when I was speaking with someone earlier, my understanding, we can order them year-round, so they can be, that's a special order, right?
Yep.
But now is the time that you are
now
just
we're making
churning
them
out.
every day.
You don't have to put a place in order.
Yep.
But then, so you'll have them through this coming Saturday that we can just walk in and nab our six-pack.
Yes. We generally do them year round. A lot of local people here don't realise they're just for Easter, so they like them and then come in and ask for them anytime. We do them online. We have our online business that ships all over the US.
So so if you're watching from a distance outside of Atlanta, they do ship globally.
Yes.
So I know that you also ship a lot of your savory pies as well.
Yes, meat pie sausage rolls is traditionally what we sell. A lot of Easter this week we'll ship out a lot of hot cross buns, but they'll be getting their meat pie sausage rolls to go with them as well.
Very nice. My favorite is the Ned Kelly, by the way.
Oh yes,
that's a pretty good.
It's the steak, egg, cheese and pie bacon pie.
That's right.
That was featured on the Travel Channel a few years ago. Yeah, so that's what made it famous.
Okay, so we got that going.
So
now,
the spices, it's cinnamon, nutmeg and ginger.
Okay.
Mostly cinnamon, just a little bit of nutmeg and ginger to give it a bit of just to give it all the flavours. So we've got the salt, sugar, nutmeg, ginger, and we're ready to roll.
Now from start to finish for you, roughly, what's the duration to make your pie?
It's 12, 13 minutes mixing time, and then we'll allow it to sit for probably 20, 30 minutes just to proof up, give it time to develop into, a lot of the flavour is developed then with the yeast. Then we'll shape them, roll them out into the little balls, and then we'll give them proof time then for maybe an hour.
Okay.
And then we'll put the crosses on the top, put them in the oven for 15 minutes, and out they come, hot golden brown hot cross buns.
Right, gotcha.
Traditional hot, ready to go.
Nice. So did you have a dough set up already? Or is this
No,
not
this
gonna
is
work?
it.
Okay.
I was going to have one of them.
Yeah,
I was going to have stages.
You want to drink it up?
I can
Yeah,
drink
let's
it
break
up.
it up. Here we go. Let's get this thing moving.
Just break that up.
If you're just joining us, I'm Lagaya Figueres, the dining editor at the AJC. We are at Australian Bakery Cafe here with co-owner and baker Neville Steele. He's been showing us how he makes his hot cross buns that they ship all over and just in time for Easter, which you can pick up here or also in Cumming. There's if you read the story on my AJC that we have on the hot cross buns, there are a few other bakeries in Greater Atlanta where you can find them. Each bakery, however, makes them a little bit differently. Now we have the dough is mixing right now, which is why it's so loud back here. So while we're waiting for that to happen, tell us about some of the other pastries, both savory and sweet, and breads, because we've just learned this is not a pastry.
There's not a pastry.
That comes out of Australian Bakery Cafe.
All our meat pies are made with pastry. That's what we call pastry. And we call our Danish, and cinnamon rolls just like the bread ones. So we don't have they're classed as pastries as such. So, but all our meat pies and savoury pies, they're all made with what we call pastry. We have a short crust pastry on the bottom of them with a puff flaky pastry on the top. So that makes them nice and fluffy. We've got some here just straight out of the oven as well. Some of these are very, very warm. This is the traditional Cornish pasty. This is how this concept all started with the Cornwall and the miners in England. They used to take their food down to them in the mines. It would be a meat and a vegetable and a dessert all into one. Wrap it up into pastry and they'd take it down in the mines, down like a mile underground. They would open it up, throw the pastry away and just eat the middle. So that's how all of this concept is started from. And later on they made the pastry up and then above the ground and then we ate them all the way. So traditional, these are Cornish pasties. Again, there's different variations of Cornish pasties. Traditionally meat, potato and like brown vegetables.
I've got a question from online. Is it true that you do live music every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday night we have a bluegrass jam in here, yes? All year round, and especially warming up, that will become huge.
And that's just on the Marietta Square
Just
location.
on the Marietta Square, inside and outside, all year round, rain, hail.
Tell us a little bit about the history of Australian Bakery Cafe for folks who've never come down here. How long have you guys been around?
We've been here 16 years, opened in 2001. My business partner and his wife at the time come over here and started a wholesale bakery before the Olympic Games, which brought a lot of people over here. So after that we opened up the retail store on Marietta Square. So we've been here all of that time. We have lots of English, Australian, a lot of Commonwealth people that come in. All of this food is very common in the Commonwealth, so lots of Fijians and Samoans and South Africans and English, Australians, New Zealanders.
And all of your baked goods are very traditional. We don't
Very
do
traditional.
We don't do too many twists, right?
We don't know how to
No.
do too many twists. So, Mark and I, we're both bakers by trade, and we did our trade back in the 70s in Australia. After that, a lot of the craft sort of changed a lot into bread mixes and shorter styles. So we don't know how to do those shortcuts as much. So we do them all the old, long traditional way.
Gotcha.
There's not too many of us older guys that are still going, so most of the younger ones come along, but all the older retired bakers are
Right, that's great.
come and gone.
Now I'm hearing the mixer's quiet now.
Yes,
I don't know, does that mean
we're
that
going to
it
go
was
into
really
the
ready?
next stage of it,
Okay.
which is adding, we're going to add the fruits now. Basically we only put the fruit in last because the fruit will break down the dough if we mix it up too much.
Right. Now, does it always have to be raisins? Can it be currants, for example?
I have the currants
These
in
are
under
the-
there, it's mixed in with it.
Okay.
But yeah, it's currants, raisins, and golden raisins. We have the big select raisins that are juicy and plump. Golden raisins. We call these sultanas in Australia. So
Sultanas, that's right.
Sultanas. These are sultana grapes.
Now, can some versions also use other dried fruits, such as, say, dried apricots, minced dried?
They
No,
could.
you guys are traditional.
I haven't seen it, but yes. What some of them do is put dried peel in it, which is dried lemon, apricot, dried candy peel. That's one variation that we don't do here.
Okay.
You can do them with just chocolate, with this basic dough here, and then you can just put chocolate bits in it as well. And that's what the newer ones in Australia have come along.
Okay.
So
Actually, you can bring the camera in a little bit closer. If you were watching from the beginning, obviously you saw how all of those wet and dry ingredients have finally come together. It's really sort of getting nice and airy too.
starting to pull together and develop as a dough.
Right. What you're watching is the industrial machine here as the co-owner of Australia Bakery Cafe. Neville Steele is making the dough for Hot Cross Buns, and we're gonna. That's the first part of the process. We're gonna see him roll out a little bit.
First part.
So we're almost done with this.
Then we're going to add the fruit in, just slowly in so it mixes in through.
So we have another question, Neville. Someone wants to know what are some of your customer favorite dishes?
A lot of the American ones that come in here, the favourite is the steak, cheese and bacon, or the Ned Kelly one that you
Ned
mentioned.
Kelly, right?
It's a steak, egg, cheese and bacon. They're two of the most popular pies. Another one is an Outback pepper jack chicken, which is roasted chicken breast with Parmesan cheese, pepper jack cheese, covered in Caesar dressing, and then with cayenne pepper and parsley in it. That one gives it's very vibrant flavours and has a little bit of kick as well.
Right.
That one's very popular.
Right. Now, today is a Friday, and it's a Friday in Lent. A lot of people who observe Lent are also going to be celebrating Easter. So those who do often can't eat meat on Fridays. Do you have any pies that would be good for Friday?
We have the vegetarian pasty.
Okay.
And we have a spinach and feta triangle, which is spinach and feta, black pepper, nutmeg in it. That one's great. And we have a spinach and feta quiche as well. We also do fish and chips, which is what a lot of people have been coming in for and getting.
Today's a Friday, great day for fish and chips.
Fantastic day for fish and chips. We have the one piece and the two piece fish and chips.
Okay. All right, so last ingredient here, the sultanas. The sultanas were in. Now you're doing your...
currants and the select raisins now.
Oh, that's looking pretty.
So they're looking.
If you're just joining us, I'm Lugaya Figueres. I'm the Food and Dining Editor at the AJC. Every Thursday we try to go out and about in Atlanta, taking a look at the food scene, and today we find ourselves in Marietta Square at the Australian Bakery Cafe. It's because we're learning how to make hot cross buns here. It's one of the few places in Atlanta, in Greater Atlanta, where you can find hot cross buns right now because it's a traditional Easter treat, and they are turning out like. How many hot cross buns do you think you make every day right now?
At the moment, probably doing about 50, 60 dozen. 50
to 60 dozen. And as we gear up to Easter, I'm going to assume are you ramping it up too?
Yes.
Okay.
Monday and Tuesday are going to be a big mail order day, so a lot of our ones. Basically, we've started ramping up from a couple of days ago.
Okay.
There's a few local stores that get our hot cross buns as well.
Oh, okay.
The Queen's Pantry is
one
of them.
Why don't you, if you can't get over here to Australian Bakery Cafe, you're giving them to which places?
The Queen's Pantry.
The Queen's Pantry.
That's the main one.
Okay.
That's our one. So.
All right. Any others that you can remember?
That's a British store, yeah.
Okay.
So that's
You used margarine in this recipe. Is it all right to replace that with real butter?
Yes, definitely. That is a margarine that's as close to butter as we can get. If you're going to use butter, make sure it's softened a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to take too long. It's not going to mix long enough to break up.
Okay.
So, as it's warmer, butter is fine. But if you're going to use it, then you have to use it at sort of room temperature, basically.
Okay.
So it will blend. In. Otherwise, you end up with little pieces.
All right. So how long are we to be finished?
Not too long. Just going to mix it up.
Okay, we're going to go mix that one more time.
Just a little bit of flour, just to like tighten it up a little bit. Want to keep it soft enough so that the fruits will mix through. But now the fruits have mixed in, we're just going to tighten it up so it'll be like that.
Now this is a whole lot of dough. How much would this make? How many buns?
This is 20 pound of flour. I'll get around 25 dozen out of this batch.
25 dozen.
Yeah, which is about 56 packs.
All right. Now you were mentioning if people are ordering them and you're sending them out. If we come in here and buy them, how long are they going to last?
You can keep them in the refrigerator. They'll last a couple of weeks in the refrigerator, or you can put them in the freezer, or you can just keep eating them fresh. We make them every day.
There you go.
Best way to eat them is cut them in half, put butter in the middle of them. A lot of Americans try them with cream cheese or a little bit of whipped cream in the middle of them. You can also put a bit of raspberry jam in the middle of them and roll them in sugar and eat them like a hot cross bun donut as well. So
nice. Good ideas. Good
there's
ideas.
a few options there.
And if you were just joining us earlier when Neville was telling us a little bit about, now it's calm and quiet.
Very calm and quiet.
Now it's going to be Zen time as we need.
Yes.
No, but you were telling us earlier, obviously we all don't have one of those mixers, and so if you do try this at home, his thought on using a bread machine is simple and easy, and let the machine do all the work.
A lot of people have them at home.
Right. Okay, so we're going to move this over. You're going to show us how the next step.
The next step, we're going to toss it out on the bench. We're going to flour the bench a little bit. We're going to wind it down and then get the rest of that off there. And we're just going to tip it out on the table. It's all the finished product, all mixed in. Sometimes you'll get some of the raisins and that stuck on the bottom.
Now, it was a little bit loud. You told us this, you had 20 pounds of flour, and how much would this
20
make
pounds
in
of
total?
flour, I'll get about 25 dozen hot cross buns out of it. Nearly. 23, 24, 25. So around the 50 packets.
All right, so show us a little bit on your kneading process here.
In the kneading process, we do have a bigger rolling thing in the back. I'll show you how we'll cut them up. We've got some packs. We can just cut them up, or we can roll it into bigger chunks. Grab one of your.
This is Neville Steele. If you're just tuning in with us, Neville is a baker here at Australian Bakery Cafe. He's also one of the business partners. They own the location here in Marietta, as well as there's a location in Cumming. And he's been showing us the step-by-step process for making their hot cross buns that are selling like hotcakes right
selling
these
like
days
hotcakes.
because it's Easter time and it's a traditional Easter food.
Yep. And then we just roll them up. These are traditionally around about a 3-ounce size. So you just roll them up. These are a bit like a karate wipe on, wipe off technique. You just roll it in.
Okay, now
basically when you're rolling in, you start off pretty firm at the moment, so you get, normally after this puffs up a little bit, you'll have a bit of air in it. Traditionally you knock the air out of it and then roll it down. You start off heavy and then you come up light so that it finishes up with a finished little round ball, somewhere like about a 2 golf ball size. Some people will go in this way or that way, but
Which is traditional, Neville.
this way, I think.
Now, one of your colleague over here was sort of patting it down almost like a pizza round. What's the difference between, what's that going to be used for as opposed to, you've got your
This
balls
is what
of-
you could do at home. Because we're going to do lots of them over the next week, then we have a little bun cutter in the back there that will cut it for us. At the moment we have trays, but you can just put them onto just a like a cookie sheet pan and roll them up. They will come up and puff up. We're going to let them sit for a little while then.
And,
Pass that 6-pack over there.
and normally, how long would you let this rise?
Probably around an hour from this stage, may even be a bit longer.
Okay, and
they
what-
will come up to what we have here as a finished product. They will come up to about 2/3 of that. So the yeast will start working, and it will have a little bit left in the oven, what we call oven kick, and that's what gets that spring.
Okay. What's the temperature you're baking these
Around
at?
400.
400. And the scoring, are you doing the scoring just before you put them in there?
Yes. It's just a oil, flour and water mix that we pipe it through. You want it just thin enough so it'll run on. So and plenty of oil on it so that it's soft enough to eat. No oil or very little oil, and it gets pretty hard.
Wonderful.
But that's our.
Well, they look
tradition.
beautiful.
Don't they look beautiful?
It makes my stomach grumble. I'm going to need to get myself a 6-pack and coffee on the way out the door.
Yes.
Well, everyone, I'm Lagaya Figueres, the Food and Dining Editor at the AJC. Today we were at Australian Bakery Cafe. We were at the location on Marietta Square. I was here with baker Neville Steele, and he was walking us through their process for making hot cross buns. We'll repeat that you can order these buns online if you wish.
Yes.
They also have them available right now. While they're generally available, you can order them anytime. There are particularly that you can easily pick up a dozen or 2 or 3 here at either at this shop or as well as the Cumming location. And you mentioned you're also you're making them and they sell them at Queen's
Pantry.
the Queen's Pantry.
Yes.
So if you're interested in learning more about hot cross buns, go ahead online to myajc.com, or you can check out today's print paper in the Go Guide. You'll find this story with the various ideas on where to get some hot cross buns just in time for Easter. Well, Neville, thanks so much for
Thank you
having
very
us. It was
much.
a pleasure. And we'll see you guys next Thursday.
Thank you very much.